pretty much any shot he wanted, he got. I'm a fan of Jabari Smith Jr. and I think that his rookie year, I think, kind of tainted the way that a lot of people think about him moving forward. But I mean, if what we've seen in summer league is any indicator, I think like he's in for a big year too.
Oh, I think he's in for a huge jump, and I think the Pistons game especially, you saw some on-ball creation, and I know it was on James Wiseman, who's another big body, like a bigger body, but he showed some real good just like foot speed with the ball and some nice he had this nice tween step back over James Wiseman. And he started talking his shit, and it's
I love it.
That's the stuff he had at Auburn, where he would just get to his spot and just say, you can't guard me. You can't get to where I'm going to get. And then he'd talk his shit, and he was confident. And I felt like his rookie season, you're right, Ryan, just a lot of people didn't feel that same way watching him.
Yeah, I liked the what I saw out of Jabari too. I mean, just looking at it from a pure number standpoint, he averaged over 30 points a game. I don't remember the exact stat line, but I know he was scoring the ball really well. And that was one of the main things that he struggled with, which was weird because, people thought that his floor when he was coming out last year was, he's going to be a really high level 3-and-D guy. And last year he did everything except be able to shoot very consistently for a while.
Yeah.
And his defense was spotty, but I think when you're looking at it, the jump that he's able to make, if he's able to continue on this path of what we're seeing now, is he's going to be able to be a third or fourth option guy. And now that they have some vets in there that can take some of those responsibilities of the dirty work stuff, maybe if Jeff Green gets some minutes, I doubt it, but if he does, he can take some of those minutes. He can do some of the random little things. Dylan Brooks is definitely going to be someone that's taking away some of those responsibilities of the dirty work stuff, which I think is super important. I think when you simplify the role for a young player, it allows them to develop in a much easier path. But yeah, I definitely agree. And also Tari Eason looked really good, being able to,
Sure.
Yeah, Tari Eason looked really good.
Yeah, and he's like a Swiss Army knife guy. He can do a little bit of everything. Yeah. So
I think the Rockets are actually gonna have to figure out if they're gonna start probably Dylan Brooks at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
But I think by the end of the year we'll see Tari Eason really deserve a starting forward spot on that team. I was really impressed in the summer league with him.
Yeah, I really hope he does earn a starting spot because he does everything you want to as far as being a winning player. The way I see Tari Eason is someone who can really push the ceiling of a team that's trying to win. And also Fred VanVleet is just going to open up the game so much more for the Rockets offense. And I think Jabari Smith is really going to benefit off that. Just having someone who's not Kevin Porter Jr. to get him open looks and just kind of control the ball a bit better.
Yeah, I think there's just a good mix coming in because you also have Alman that's coming in who's a playmaking heavy guard or wing, depending what they're going to play him at. We've seen reports of him playing at 1 through 3.
Yeah. Which he got hurt, unfortunately.
Yeah, but we'll see. I think I don't think Summer League really would have gave us an answer because the roster is so different. But I also do think with Ime there as well.
True.
They're going to get him in positions that help him. Go ahead. You had something to say, Geoff?
No, yeah, I was going to say, I just hope that they don't. I would honestly prefer if they want to start Fred VanVleet, which I would assume so. They paid him $43 million.
Yeah, you got to start him.
So I would prefer that they just bring Amen off the bench then. I think Amen's so much better as a point guard than I would rather him be playing the point guard and running the second unit a little bit more and getting some run with the starters as well. I think it would be so much better for his development. I would prefer not to see him at the 3. I just think it would.
Yeah. I think lineups with him in the 3 are going to have to be him mainly playing defensively as the 3. Yeah. So they'll put him in with Jalen Green and KPJ or Jalen Green and someone else at the 2.
Which is fine.
Yeah, and he'll run a point guard role offensively, but they'll just, since he has the size and length athleticism, they'll be go guard the 3.
Yeah, I agree. I think, I'm just a bigger fan of, like we said, putting them into the positions to succeed. I think when you're drafting a guy 4th overall and his clear upside is his passing talent and his versatility doing so, and his size being able to do so and his athleticism. I think obviously if you want to use him on the defensive side to guard a little bit of the bigger guys, the 2s and the 3s, that would make sense because he is bigger. But I think on offense, I think if you turn him into just a shot creator and a spot up guy, it's just not. He's going to look bad because he's not a strong shooter already. So
no.
All right. Yeah. You guys have any other thoughts about the Rockets at all?
No, not with the Rockets.
Yeah.
I have one question. I have one question about this Rockets for you. Do you guys think that I think that last season kind of overshadowed how much talent is really on that team right now because of all the, how much negative stuff was going on. Do you think that that they're going to have to move off a guy or two in the next season or two? Like, I feel like KPJ has been spoken a lot as possibly a trade asset.
Yeah. Well, KPJ is super easy to trade because like the weird contract he got where it's like it was like a bunch of years, but only 1 year was actually guaranteed.
It's
right?
This year.
Yeah. So I feel like you could move off him easily, but I do think there are kind of a lot of players on that team right now that deserve minutes, but probably won't get the shine. Like, we haven't even mentioned Cam Whitmore yet, who...
Yeah, that's another thing.
Like, where is he going to play? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
Like a 4, I guess, behind Bari?
Maybe.
He's too small for a 4. I would rather...
Yeah, but if they have Eason and him as the backup wings, I guess they both...
I think Eason, if you're like talking like a full bench unit, like this is their bench, I would say Amen at the 1.
KPJ... Or
KPJ is going to be off the bench probably.
Yep.
If they start Brooks, obviously. So I think it would be Amen, KPJ, Cam, Tar Eason, and then the backup 5. I don't really know who they'd be playing there.
Because they traded Garuba.
Yeah.
They traded Garuba and then
which they already weren't. It seems like they were trying to get a veteran center to play the backup 5.
I mean, they wanted Brook Lopez, right?
Yeah. That's
well, yeah, and even then, I don't really know how much. I don't really know I mean, Brook Lopez is a good player, but I don't know how his value would be with a team that's not super strong defensively.
The value would only be in Sengun's development.
Yeah, as like an outside threat more.
Just
it is a defensive IQ.
Teach him the ways in the pick and roll and defensive IQ because Brook really developed his defensive IQ.
Yeah,
and if there's any player to like be like, hey, I was an idiot on this end of the floor. You can do this to fix yourself. Brooks a good one.
For sure. Yeah, I'm not sure. I can. I'm not sure exactly what their backup 5 would look like.
I know they experimented with Jabari at the backup 5 a lot, like small ball 5.
Oh, they signed Jock Landale.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
On that he also has a really weird deal. Where it's like 4 years, $32 million, but only the first year and like a half is guaranteed.
Yeah,
something like that. Which Jack Liddell was fine last year, so I wouldn't expect him to be any worse.
He'll be fine.
Yeah, so I think they got some development. I think it really depends on like how competitive they are because like this year I really don't like. I think I just want them to be competitive as a whole. I'm not putting any sort of expectations. I think the overall both conferences, especially the West, getting down to that 10th seed, like there's very, very competitive. Like those are very good teams that are going to be 10 seeds. So I would say like, as long as they're competitive, I think it's when they want to become like a playoff team that they would probably move it off, which I could probably see at the end of next year, next off season, possibly.
Yeah. I think they're a little bit before they need to move off talent.
Yeah, I agree. I was just wondering if you guys had any strong thoughts.
Yeah. I also think like contract wise, they set themselves up where they still have a few years before
it lines up so like
off contracts.
Most of the contracts line up with one of their players that plays a similar position when they need their extension. So like Fred VanVleet's contract is 4 years and he'll be eligible, and like Amen and will be extension eligible after 3.
Yeah.
So like they can extension him, like they can get his extension. And then they'll be
look to trade.
Hopefully they're developed. But even then, the extension will kick until the year after the extension off season. So it'll be like they would still be able to have
Fred's contract
season on. Yeah.
Right.
So they would still have the 1 year season. So I think they positions themselves well. I mean, it just kind of depends on what they're going to overall do.
They're definitely looking better coming into this season than they were last season.
Yeah.
Like they actually have a good coach.
Yeah, and even
And they
then,
seem like they have a good.
when you evaluate the coaching situation, Steven Silas's coaching position in Houston was always hired. He was hired and took the job on the fact that James Harden and Russell Westbrook were going to possibly be on the
Oh,
team. That's why
yeah,
he took.
yeah.
And then Russ got traded, and then Harden got
Harden
traded,
asked out, yeah.
and then they tanked immediately. So,
Oh yeah, it's like Chauncey. Chauncey comes into Portland,
yeah.
and we just quietly tank for 2
But actually,
years.
Chauncey's been shown that he's actually good at developing prospects.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, exactly. I feel like Silas hasn't shown like he's shown that he's a stubborn coach where he doesn't try to raise with his players.
And his schemes are very like winning oriented. They're not developing oriented. So like a lot of the players had very short leashes last year. It's like Sengun always was getting benched.
Yeah.
Getting taken out the game in the fourth quarter because of defense. It's like he needs to be in the game developing his defensive ability and his understanding of these late game situations, because you come into a year after that and you're expecting him to be a rotational full-time player. He needs to play the whole game. He can't just
he needs to understand what to do and how to act in those situations.
Yeah.
And I also just felt like he wouldn't put Jabari or Sengun or even sometimes like just a lot of their players, he wouldn't put them in positions in the offense to succeed.
No,
it's like he's just putting them where he wants them to be, even though the player's strengths don't.
Well, it's like KPJ. Why is KPJ? I mean, KPJ is a talented enough player where he can play a guard role, but why is KPJ a one? That's not his. No. He was always a 2-3 scoring hybrid. Yeah, so I don't know. I think they should be a fun team. It'll actually be worth watching this season. I think people were like, "Oh, so last season it was just like if the Rockets are playing, it's not worth even turning the team."
Yeah, hard to watch. But